Okay, so they have like Wi-Fi in some of the new Delta flights. 4-hour flight feels like 45 minutes. I mean, they're like, oh, we're about to land. I'm like, no, circle again, please. We're going to be able to compress time, which will be nice. In fact, I predict the emergence of what I call the patient but picky society. Patient because with this, I don't mind waiting in line anymore. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, they say we're distracted, and we always have our heads down. Well, I don't do that at the dinner table, but I tell you what, if I'm standing in line at the airport, man, TSA, take your time. No problem. I'm paying some bills here. I got a lot of emails I got to get rid of. You know, I'm just much more patient now. I have Bluetooth in my car. I can just dial phone numbers by voice, and I can pay I get all these $10 and $20 stupid bills that is, like, it's not even worth the stamp to pay these things. So now I call people with my Visa card number on the telephone. So I'm stuck in traffic. I'm like, no problem. Go ahead, cut on in. I'm in no rush. I'm so much more patient than I used to be. So how will people become picky? Now, normally rich snobs are the picky ones, but I would say even modest and low-income people will be picky because they're being trained to be picky. What do you mean you don't know who I am? I bought a cable here 5 years ago. My Gmail, my free email account, I can search my emails back years. So don't tell me you don't keep your records longer than 6 months. I can order a pizza using a text message from Domino's. I don't even have to print my boarding pass anymore. I can just have it show up on my screen. So don't tell me you don't know who I am and that you can't help me right now. And you know, I think that's a good thing. I don't think you should have to spend above X amount of dollars to be able to be picky. So these 4 screens applied into businesses, education. I mean, I wasn't that smart of a kid. I didn't test very well in school. I mean, I tested okay, but I just didn't have a lot of discipline. I was bored easily in class. If you were a great teacher and engaging, I got straight A's. If you were a mediocre teacher, I'd tune you out and I'd get a C or a D. But I tell you, I never, because I think I'm a verbal thinker, I didn't do really well in math. I could understand if I had to. I can do computer programming. But learning math is really tough, and I think most minds, as we learn more about how the brain is structured, I believe the tablet, over time, will evolve into something that turns into kind of an adaptive learning tool. And just picture this. Picture being in like 3rd grade, learning advanced algebra, and cosine to the power of 2. And as you write that, a graph appears on the right-hand side of your tablet. And as you change the 2 to a 3, the sine wave turns into a parabola. Or vice versa, you draw a shape, and as you draw it, a formula appears. And that's how the brain best learns. So I believe there's a whole generation of kids out there, types of minds, that no amount of great teaching is going to overcome. At some point, the technology can help augment. Instead of asking them to change, the technology adapts to how they think best. This is what I think is we're on the cusp of in the next 10 or 20 years. It's going to be pretty exciting. So this is one of my favorite questions I ask people. How many of you in the last year have taught yourself to do something you've never done before using like an internet video? To cook something, to make something, to fix something. What?
Golf.
Golf. What did you learn in golf?
I'm learning how to swing.
Learning how to swing. Using internet video. Cool. Did it help?
Yeah, I think so.
Nice. Who else had their hand up? Yeah?
Figuring out where Microsoft had hidden some of the functions in Word when they upgraded.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Figuring out hidden functions in Microsoft. I'll have to talk to you afterwards and find out what they are. I know, you like wonder who puts this stuff out there. That's the only downside with geeks, is they just assume everybody speaks Vulcan. Who else has got some examples? Yes, sir?
I do a lot of cooking and I make a recipe.
Yeah? What's the latest thing you learned how to make?
Minnesota crab cakes.
Minnesota crab cakes. Nice. I learned how to poach an egg finally, perfectly like the hotel. You know what the secret is? There's like 40 videos. There's 2 tricks. One is a tablespoon of vinegar in the water. The acid helps keep the egg white from breaking apart. The other one is that you swirl the water clockwise or something like that. Somehow it rolls it all into a perfect thing. You know? Who else? Yes, sir.
If we're cheap brakes in the car,
to change the brakes on your car. Did you ever done that before?
Not this.
Did it work?
Yeah, it was great.
How did it feel when you did that?
Pretty cool.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I'm mad. Anybody else? Anybody got a good doozy? Yes. Yellow.
We got an automated corkscrew for a gift. Then I promptly lost the box and the instructions. And God bless the internet.
And you figured it out. See, I think some.
Programming and they will teach you what you.
So you got the automated corkscrew working. Yes, sir.
Well, I've done several things. My daughter's got a great story. She came home and heard this clanking noise. And here their garbage disposal had plugged up, and her husband was underneath the sink with a wooden spoon, banging against the side of the garbage disposal to get it unplugged. She wasn't working very well. She went downstairs, went on the internet, and said, just take the trap out, clean the trap, and it'll work great. So here, woman who supposedly never
They
known
don't
plumbing.
ask for
Yeah,
directions.
woman, female plumber. It was pretty hilarious.
They hate to ask for instructions too.
I made my son-in-law also a toolkit. Cut up a box and bought 3 wooden spoons.
Really? Now, see, I think the only difference between like a geek and a normal person is for some reason a geek at an early age was either encouraged to or felt comfortable to begin asking questions and taking the world apart. Once they figured out that anything that can be assembled can be disassembled, they just started saying, "Wow, that wasn't so hard." And then pretty soon you just look at the world differently. You look at wood and you ask, "How is wood formed? Why is the sky blue? How do they print this pattern on this carpet?" And now you can find the answer to anything. And now everybody can do that.